What is up guys, this is YGO and welcome back to the channel, and today guys I'm bringing you the Cyberblader deck profile. So guys, this is the perfect deck for you to play if you want to play with an Alexis skill and do not want to play Cyber Angels. And guys, let me tell you, this fusion card has some very strong effects, because this card by itself can stop your opponent's effects altogether if they're not careful and fill their board with 3 monsters at the same time. But anyway, I'll get to that in a little bit, and we start the deck profile like always with the skill. And it's Alexis Rhodes, like I said, and the skill is Cyberblade Fusion. So this skill is very cool in the sense that allows you to fusion summon, sending one of the materials from the deck if you have the other one off the field by the small cost of discarding one card. So basically, if you have like Blader Skater on your side of the field, you can just activate the skill, discard one card, and then fusion summon into the Cyberblader herself. Also keep in mind guys, that the Cyberblader will have 400 more attack points, and this skill can only be used twice per duel. Also, this little attack bonus can make your Cyberblader get up into 5000 attack if your opponent has 2 monsters on their side of the field. But without any further ado, let's just get into the deck profile itself. And we start the main deck with triple copies of Blade Skater and triple copies of Duel Cyber. So guys, I choose to play 3 of each instead of 2 and play a bigger build because I want to make the skill resolve as much as possible, meaning if I play 2 of each, I run the risk of not having enough materials to fuse for the second time with the skill, so that's why I choose to play 3 and combat that by playing a 28 card deck instead of a smaller build. Moving on, we play triple copies of Gear Free the Red Ice Iron Knight, as this is a very strong engine to play in any warrior deck, because we can search this with reinforcements of the army and play the Blast with Chain engine, which is in my opinion a very strong engine to play in a deck that's warrior monster focused. Moving on, we also play Double Giant Rat, as this is a very easy way to access your Blade Skater or your Duel Cyber, since they're both Earths with 1500 attack or less. Moving on, we play double copies of the Warrior Lady, as she's a warrior that we can search with reinforcements of the army. Also, this is a limited 3 card, and to round out the limited 3 cards, we also play 1 copy of Book of Moon as our first spell in the deck. Moving on, like I mentioned before, we play double copies of reinforcements of the army, as this is a very huge consistency boost to this deck, because you can basically search the Warrior Lady, Gear Freed, Duel Cyber or Blade Skater from your deck to your hand and start making the plays you need at that time. Moving on, we also play double copy of Creature Swap, because this deck has a few very weak monsters, for example like Giant Rat and Duel Cyber and Blade Skater, and so with that you give control of those monsters to your opponent and take one of their stronger monsters to your side of the field. Moving on, into the Spell and Trap removal, we play 1 copy of Night Beam and double copy of Galaxy Cyclone, and guys, let me tell you, these 2 should be Mystical Space Typhoons, but I don't have it, and Galaxy Cyclone is perfectly fine, but if you do have Mystical Space Typhoons, feel free to change them for these ones, as they are just a little bit better than this card. Moving on, into the traps, we play triple copy of Blast with Chain, part of the Gear Freed engine, and if you guys don't know what the combo between these 2 cards is, so you basically summon the Gear Freed, the Iron Knight, and then you set the Blast with Chain into your side of the field. Then, after 1 turn passes, you can activate this card anytime you want and equip it to Gear Freed. Then you'll activate Gear Freed's effect if you want to and get rid of this card in order to destroy without targeting, that's very important, one of your opponent's spell and traps, so you get rid of 1. Then, because Blasted Chain was sent to the graveyard by a card effect, while equipped to a monster, you can actually target 1 more card on the field and destroy it by this card effect. So this basically makes a 2-card combo that's very strong, because it will get rid of 2 of your opponent's cards just by activating Blast with Chain and equipping it to the Gear Freed. Moving on, into the rest of the traps, we play double copy of Widespread Ruin and double copy of Voboku, just to defend ourselves from very aggressive decks like for example the Fossil deck. And this is all for the main deck. Like I said, we are playing 28 cards in the main, and now we move on into the extra and side deck. So the extra starts with double copies of Cyberblader. This is the most important monster on the deck, and her effect says that she will get a bonus effect depending on how many monsters are on your opponent's side of the field. So if they have 1, she cannot be destroyed by battle. If they have 2, this card attack will be doubled, and keep in mind that because of your skill, she will always have 400 extra attack points, so she will basically be a 2500 attack monster, and with this bonus effect, she'll become a 5000 beat stick, and that's very high, making it very easy to OTK your opponents with a single attack. Also, if your opponent makes the mistake of putting 3 monsters on the side of the field, your opponent's card effects will be negated, so he will not be able to activate anything because everything will be negated. So this is a very strong card that puts a lot of pressure on your opponent's side of the field. Also guys, keep in mind, and by the way, I was today years old when I learned this, that Cyberblader's effects will not stack, so she will only be indestructible by battle if they have 1 monster, and she will only have 5000 attack if they have 2 monsters. And your opponent's card effects will only be negated if they have 3 monsters, so if they have 3 monsters on the side of the field, she won't be at 5000 attack, neither she'll be protected from battle destruction. So keep this effect in mind, because I dueled a lot of games with my friends thinking that all of the effects stacked when they don't. Moving on into the rest of the extra deck, we play 1 Cyber and Dragon, 1 Ojama King, 1 Destiny and Dragoon, and 1000 Ice Restrict. And as you probably guessed it, with these amazing Waking the Dragon targets, we actually do play Waking the Dragon in the side deck. And speaking of the side deck, we started with double copies of the Fission, very strong card in this format, very good against some specific decks, for example like Fossils. Also we play double Lost Wing, as this is a very generic card that hits a lot of decks in this format, and 1 Waking the Dragon, like I mentioned before, and finally 1 Mind Crush, as it's still a very decent card to play on our side decks if your opponent has a deck that searches a lot of cards. And so this is all for the deck itself. So this is the main deck, and these are the extra and side decks for you guys. So guys, anyway, moving on, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is all for the deck profile itself. If you did, feel free to leave a like and maybe subscribe to the channel, and if you guys want to see some specific deck profile in the future, feel free to comment down below, as I read all of your comments and I'm more than happy to try and make a deck profile for you guys if possible and if I have the cards to do so. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and like always, this is LockYGO, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Out!